It is, let's see, it is time for a video about false twin flame mission. Because besides the false twin flame, this also exists, the false twin flame mission. And maybe you hadn't thought about that yet, and that's why I wanted to enlighten this topic today, because we are in a time in which I love to speak more about mission with you. So I think most of you will be familiar with the idea of the false twin flame. Now that is someone that you feel and think and sometimes you're very sure of is the twin flame for you, uniquely you in the universe, your ultimate lover. And then you go deeper in that journey and you get to know them more and you get to know yourself more and you do more inner work specifically. And then you at a certain moment find out that it is not the true twin flame. It was a false one because you believed it. And then it came out that they were not. That is the false twin flame. And they do not necessarily need to be negative because they actually can bring you in your true union. Because they will bring you all the way with all this contrast that they provide so that you know what you don't want to like the border of where your true union begins, in which you now know what you are actually looking for, what you had needed to look for all along, but you were not there to execute that in the right way. You can forgive yourself for that and move forward with the true union. And the false twin flame can actually bring you there. So it's not really always negative. Well, the same goes for the false mission. Mission is the idea that when you come into your harmonious twin flame union, then from that being together arises this being energy from the heart that you're exuding. And when you become active in that energy, you start to do things. In other words, you start to help other people. And that becomes the mission in which you are doing things and being active, and even to such a degree that energy starts to flow back to you. And that can also be in the form of money, because we do live on a physical planet, and that is a very well accepted way to exchange value. And when you get it in return, you can know for yourself how you want to spend that in the best way possible to support yourself so that you can continue to do this mission work. And this mission work can also have a false one. Yes. So let's look into that. I have collected for you 3 ideas, 3 scenarios that might be yours potentially, or they could become yours, so that you on the forehand know what to look out for, and they are indicators of a false mission. And the first is when you have a courageous entrepreneurship as coach that is based on ego and not on the soul, on that spirit part deeper inside of you where you are the true twin flame to yourself, to your twin flame, and in union. So yeah, that exists, that maybe you have such a beautiful idea and it is blessedly original, that you thought about it like this, and this is what you're going to help people with, and there are even people that want to buy that from you, and you learn how to be an entrepreneur and you make those structures in your own work practice for one, and you show your face on social media, and that is incredibly courageous, and it's so beautiful that you can be that lady or that man that is just doing it all themselves. Beautiful, amazing. Yet it can be, even when it is very trendy what your topic is, or it's so original that you're almost an artist while you're a coach, or it's really well for the environment and for other people, And it can still be that that thing that is so exquisite when you look at personal development is not the thing when you look at spiritual development. And the twin flame mission plays a role in which it is always fully anchored into the spiritual development of you. And that is another thing. So maybe it can even be that you sort of change from tuning it into your personality, that's what I called ego earlier, and you now anchor it into your soul or spirit. And then it could be that that's already all that you need to do. And to do that right, you will need to start to do inner work. And we have that for you, so no problem. We have the key tool for you. It's to bring you into Harmonious Twin Flame Union, but also in your Twin Flame mission. And I share that key tool that is the inner work that you're looking for in this in our Facebook community. You can come there. You're very welcome with the link that I always provide in the description box below this video. And I have many resources about this key inner work for you right there, just for the taking. So that helps, and maybe you can then go in the same vein that you were in, but now you've anchored it into quite a different layer inside of yourself. But it might also be that while you're at it and start to do this inner work as the basis to really feel out and perhaps re-anchor your mission or entrepreneurship inside that deeper layer, it might also be that you find out that the topic was slightly wrong or entirely wrong. And it's not and never morally wrong that you did that. It's okay. It's beautiful because everything contributes to what you're later going to do. Even when it comes out to be quote unquote wrong, it's not morally wrong, but it is wrong when you look at not exactly attuned to what eventually your true attunement to your twin flame mission is. Nothing is lost because you have gathered so much experience and you have spent such a good time with that personality topic that is absolutely not wrong. You have gained experience, you have gained business structures that you now know how to do, you have gained knowledge about marketing and knowing how to do that. You have done what you loved at this time, while at another time it will be something else. Nothing to be ashamed of, but it can go like that. And I just wanted to make that clear for you. And another type of false mission can be this scenario, number 2. When you have a twin flame mission to coach people into union, but you're doing that with not the real work. In other words, not the real inner work. You're not basing what you give other people on the true work that is embedded in the divine and the way it is embedded organically in the divine, so that these other people that you're trying to push a little forward and help a little with their relationship problems and do some spiritual healing with them, and you're not really giving them the true tools that give these people the shortcut to their harmonious twin flame union. You're just giving them, well, maybe they are some sort of nice ideas and come forward from your genuine lessons from relationships and some genuine healing modalities that you have learned along your own journey that are spiritual healing modalities. So that may be all very genuine, and you brought them together and you feel like you're doing something for these people, and they also may feel better. These people may feel better after they've worked with you. I'm not going to say that that's not the case, but it might be that you're not truly bringing them in a direct relationship with their harmonious twin flame union instead of their union, or instead of their false union, or instead of just feeling a little better, doing a small step in their psychological healing, or even in their spiritual healing. There is a specific work that brings people to their true twin flame in harmonious union directly, as fast as possible. And you've got to know what that is when you want to do a true mission that is bringing twin flames to their harmonious union, which is what you actually want and what all these people also actually want. So it's not discounting that you sometimes have relieved people a little bit, and that is something that is good that you did that. But the point is that there is a true work, and when you're not truly anchored there, then it's not sustainable, because one day you will also come into your harmonious twin flame union, and then you know what the true attunement is. So maybe you are still on, let's say, a phase of your journey where you actually don't necessarily know yet exactly what you're doing. You're sort of guessing it. And that is not morally wrong. It is just not the true twin flame work. So I would say that that is somewhat problematic when you think you're already active in your true twin flame mission. You might be deluding yourself there somewhat. And I don't want that for you, because I want you to be successful. So that's why I talk about this. And it will be actually very understandably a big group of people that come in harmonious union for themselves, that will want to share their harmonious union and how to reach that with other people, because everyone actually in truth wants that, because that's just a heart's desire from every people, because twin flame union is the deeper layer of being human and making that come true, and that's what everybody truly desires, although they've made it not able to feel for them anymore. They're numbed out to it, many people. But that doesn't mean that isn't actually their true desire. When they would open up to it, they would feel that that's actually true for them as well. But in other words, twin flame union is for everybody, but harmonious twin flame union is really a very small, very, very, very small group of humanity that is there at this point. And when you come in it, it's actually logic that you would want to become a coach to share that with all these other people. There is, let's say, a big market of the rest of the people on the planet, that you can bring in union too. So and for all of these people, we need more coaches. So it's not strange to think that you would want that. Just be alert in the fact that you may actually not be having that overview yet of bringing in people in union that a true spiritual twin flame teacher has, or that even a coach of doing the correct kind of inner work would have. So that's something to understand about what I would say is a false mission. And there is a third way to speak about a false mission, and that is when you are in a false union while presenting your mission. Don't be mistaken, I have done this myself. There was a lot true about what I presented when I was with my last and final false twin flame. I have tried everything out that I do now in that period of time. But now I would say that I was in my false mission time yet, just like I was in my false twin flame time at that time still. And that is not morally wrong, it was just a phase. And I did try things out that are still part of my current union. And there are even like teachings and structures that I already had, because I was already some sort of at least halfway of a spiritual teacher already. Also at that time, we're now speaking about, let's say, 5 years ago. For the last time about myself in this issue. I have, of course, experience with all these issues myself. That's why I speak about them. I was in my false union, and even though I had all these things that are still somewhat in my repertoire, I was in my false mission time because I presented it while being with a false union, while hoping that I was not. And that made it all not yet matured yet, not yet attuned fully. Although, again, a lot of the material that I stand for is still the same. Now I am differently attuned. I wised up, in a sense, within my own body of work. I wised up, yeah, I matured it, and I matured myself. And one of the central ways is, of course, by coming into harmonious union myself. And then after that, also becoming initiated as a teacher of that, specifically also. So when you are in a false union while presenting your mission, so even though your mission may have the right words, you might still not be matured yet in the actual union vibration, and it could be said to be a false mission. I want to speak of one thing that was standing out to me over time. I have very many experiences, but this one is what I wanted to give as an example also to you. It stands a little bit away from the other three, but it somehow fits in perhaps multiple of those as well. Maybe all three of them. I have seen that people can have sometimes even very beautiful twin flame, intuitive, third eye kind of advice that is like they can read certain things that will indeed sort of happen in that union development, in that spiritual journey of that person. And they can sometimes see a chunk of that like coming, and they can speak about that and give that, relate that to someone in a reading or something, and then that can be a professional reader, and they can have the feeling that they are helping twin flames come to union and stuff. But even though these things can sometimes have chunks of truth in them that will come true, it is not necessarily a true mission. That's what I have seen. And that is because what can happen is that such a person does not listen to the divine for their information, but to another source, which makes it impure. And they can have not a true context providing in which this like coaching reading relationship is sinking into. There's not a true relationship from soul to soul, from spiritual teacher to spiritual student that it takes place in. There is not a fact of that this person is that gives this advice is in their union, their true union, let alone their harmonious union themselves. There is not this idea that they actually provide true inner work tools that can bring you the whole way. So they can sometimes give a chunk of like, ooh, that's some sort of an exciting piece of truth of like clairvoyant nature, but that doesn't mean that that it can be about the true twin flame and what you actually will go through in their journey. But it doesn't mean that that is a true mission, because it can be very misattuned in very many ways. And even when it would be somewhat helpful for part of your journey, there is a true twin flame work that can be given by someone that is anchored into true twin flame contacts with true twin flame inner work tools that is a true twin flame initiated teacher that knows what a relationship with a student is about and how to guide that, and that can overview where your harmonious union is with inner viewing together with the divine, and acknowledge that together with you when you are in harmonious union after having guided you there with actual tools that will be sustainable, in which you can also guarantee yourself that you can be sustainably keep on guiding yourself in union, harmonious union, and afterwards as well. People often don't realize that this exists. Maybe people even deny that this exists, that this is a thing, that there exist people that can, with their inner eye, with their inner viewing, together with the divine, see your union and acknowledge it there with you, for you. Be together with you in that. So that's another thing that I wanted to add, that people often don't realize that this is an actual thing. People think that twin flame coaches, readers, teachers, it's all the same, and they're just sort of guessing something for you, and they're giving this guesstimate for you and then giving you a push to their guesstimate. And that's it. That's everything that you can get, right? But that's not true. You can get the real thing, just so you know. So anyway, about false mission. I did come up with 3 ways to resolve it. And the first is called A. The second B, of course. And then C. So A, tune into it with a twin flame teacher for what it truly is. Well, I think that we were actually pretty much talking about that already. You can tune into it with a true twin flame teacher, and that is how you level out and find out together what that specific unique heart vibration is that comes out of your union. So your soul and spirit vibration instead of your personality, even though it's just as beautiful a personality as they come, but it may be not your union's vibration on that spirit level in your inner plane. But you can come to know what that is when you tune into it together with your teacher, because that teacher is your anchor in that, is the one that feels that together with you and acknowledges that together with you on that level, whereas it can be very difficult to acknowledge that for yourself because you're still very much busy with figuring out what that layer inside of you even is, right? So that's what I would do. Feel in your topics, feel in what you want to help people with, feel in how that connects to your inner light and inner love. Establish that together with your teacher. Talk about it, share about it, feel into it together, feel into the energy together. And that is the basis of anything that you're going to build, even when you're going to be an entrepreneur and build all your structures and start with marketing and social media and all these things, and build packages from your services and whatnot. All these things, they start with feeling together in the energy, and that might take a lot bigger chunk than you think it is, but it is really important. And you also need to learn to start continually doing that yourself with the right tools, which is also what a true teacher can give you. How to resolve it? B, allow yourself to grow into it from an authentic base. And we're talking about spirit authentic here, soul authentic. And that is true. And within that soul authentic, spirit authentic, however you want to call it, you are also going to be authentic in that with your psychological development too. Inside of that spiritual development, spiritual state of being, if you will. Because this authentic base consists of, yes, feeling into it on a spiritual level, and also understanding that within this mission, everything that is in your psychological development of the personal development level inside of that will also be wakened up and needs sometimes acknowledgement and attention. And we're going to resolve that with spiritual work. But when you start to become active in your mission and start to do business and help people, everything that you are on a psychological level, on all your childhood issues and your traumas, everything will come up with a vengeance, because that's how that goes when you work alone. Let's say not as a job under a boss in a preconceived idea of a job from 9 to 5, but as an alone standing, autonomous working person. Everything will come up that you do strange or wrong for whatever reason, because you unconsciously as a child have learned this wrong in relationships. And everything in this mission and in this business is a relationship. You with your client, you with your people on Facebook, you with your YouTube audience, you with your teacher, you with your business coach. Everything is a relationship, and there these things from your psychology will come up. So just be aware of that. And that is part of your authentic base, in the sense of, yes, we are still talking about your spiritual twin flame mission that we want to firstly and primarily always approach with spiritual work and your spiritual teacher. But know that the authenticity it needs to come from and embed in is also formed out of the fact that you can't spiritually bypass, specifically not also in your mission relationships with your clients, your fans, your business coach, and yourself, and what to think about your relationship with the divine, where it all comes from and goes back into. And all your psychological misattunements will come up, and you can't spiritually bypass them. You will meet them piece by piece, and that is part of your authentic base. You can't overstep it. You can't do as if it's not here. Allow yourself to grow into it from an authentic base that is seeing both elements of this, both layers, the spiritual layer and the authentic layer of your psychological growth inside of that spiritual growth as well. Don't overstep it. So all of that, both of that is your authentic base. And when you can be honest about that, and when you can be open about that and share about that and not hide that, and yeah, what did I say? Be in your integrity about that. That's what will create your magnetism to clients as well, to what you're truly going to achieve with things. When you don't come from an authentic base, you try to be someone you're not, or you're trying to go too fast while you're not there yet. It's all not morally wrong, but you will come to places where you're called back and you need to ground into this authentic base, because otherwise it just doesn't work out for you on a true mission ground. So, and then we have the last idea how to resolve it, that is C. Work literally in and with your twin flame teacher and community. So that's a way to get your true mission to work instead of your potentially false mission, what I don't desire for you. And that is to just partner with a true teacher and a true community. Start to follow what they're doing and they're saying. Start to see their what they're giving you in opportunities to grow spiritually, business-wise, personally, and opportunities to become a person that is a professional doing their twin flame mission inside their body of work and community, and yeah, their beingness, right? Their relationships, their network. Start to work with that. That is a beautiful way to step by step go deeper in your true mission. Make steps that are connected, that are relating, that relate back to the divine, that relate back to your teacher, that relate back to your guaranteed harmonious union, that relate back to everything that you want to attune with to make this true and real, and have your abundance come flow back to you as a result as well. So I hope this helped, and I do want to send you to a Christed Masters, sort of a meditational, but also a channeled message video. And because that is really crucial to understand how to go to your true mission instead of your false mission, that they explain in that video that I made about this channeling, that you will need to make place in your inner world for the divine to pour into you. Otherwise, there is no real basis and foundation for the true mission. So that's where I would want you to start right now, and I will send you to that video right here in a couple of seconds, and I will see you right there. Much love from Petra.